Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to talk about how my husband and I paid off $90,000 worth of debt. It was in 2017 that we realized that we actually had a problem and that we needed to do something to take care of this. Once we realized that we were in $90,000 worth of debt, the first thing we had to do was actually acknowledge that there was a problem. By acknowledging there's a problem, what I mean is we've been to many financial advisors, we've done quizzes, we've done tests, we did everything. But you take the good that you fall within and you acknowledge that, and then the bad that you fall within, you ignore that. So you're not really acknowledging if there is a problem or if something needs to change. You're just like, all right, I'm okay, so I'm just gonna continue on, right? But once we acknowledged that we actually had a problem, we knew we had to do something about this. We couldn't continue to go on. And in acknowledging that we had a problem, we knew that we could afford something as long as the monthly payment did not exceed what we were bringing in. But we never really paid much attention to how much something cost overall. So after you pay your interest, after you make those payments for however many months, there's a total cost, and that cost is not equivalent to what you're paying at the month. It's usually going to be higher if you're paying interest on it. So we knew we had a problem because we identified that, but we needed to know what the problem was. That's when we started listing out our debts, what we owed, whether it's a personal loan, an auto loan, a home loan, a credit card. And then we also started listing out our monthly expenses. And then we used our bank statements. And all the experts will tell you this. Look at your last 3 months of bank statements and see where your money is actually going. And then if you're using your credit card for everything, look at your credit card statements and see where you're spending. And that was able to help us identify that we were spending a lot of money when it came to eating out, just going to the mall and shopping because we can. And then we just were blowing our money. We weren't really being good stewards of what we had been given. Once we identified everything and where it was going, we had to decide where were we willing to cut back on and what were we going to do about it. We had to look and see how much money we actually had coming in. And it's pretty easy because we're in the military, so our pay is standard across the board. There's not going to be any major fluctuations throughout the month unless something comes up as far as something being wrong with your pay. So that was pretty standard. We knew how much we would have coming in every month. And then we identified the areas that we were willing to cut back on, and then all the debt that we owed, and we decided to start tackling it that way. Before we move forward though, I will tell you, looking back at it and how we paid off our debt, we followed Dave Ramsey's baby step plans, and we literally went down to rice and beans, and we cut everything out the way that he tells you to do. $1,000 emergency fund, and then everything else goes towards debt. And that helps us to pay it out in 10 months. What else helped us though is that we had a large shovel. But back to my original point, looking back, I probably would have loosened the reins just a little bit. That 10 months was pretty stressful. That would be another story for another day. But had I known then what I know now, I don't think that we would have gone in as hard as we did. The next thing we did when we were deciding to pay off our debt, and then we had to make a plan. And like I just said, we used Dave Ramsey's baby steps for this. And the first one is the $1,000 emergency fund. And then you pay off all debt, and you do it smallest to largest because those small wins do add up, and it gives you the momentum and the motivation to keep going. And then you guys can go look up the rest of the baby steps. But that's what we did. And like I said, we went in really hard. So that was our plan. But even though we had a plan, we had to do something else. So once we had our plan and we knew our debts from smallest to largest, and we decided how much we were going to cut back on and things that we were going to do, we had to start. Sometimes we plan and we have these grandiose ideas and we just think the sky and the moon, and then we don't start. Let me tell you, starting is very important. And again, those small wins add up. And I think initially on our plan, it was cell phones and store cards. It was really small things that were maybe $100 or $200. So you get the traction going with those small things, and then it starts to pick up and becomes a big snowball, right? But most importantly, you have to start, because if you look and you see you have a problem, you know how much you have going out and how much you have coming in, and then you look up, you whether to do the avalanche method or the snowball method or whatever method you choose you want to do, and then you do nothing about it. What was the point of everything else you just did and all the effort that you put into it? So you have to start. And that's not just with personal finance or paying off debt. It's with anything in life, whether you're trying to get in shape. You have to start with your first workout. You want to eat healthy. You have to buy your first healthy meal. Like, you have to start. Don't let anything stop you from starting. The next thing that we did while we were paying off our debt is we had to find our why. You have to find your why, especially if you're in a situation like us where we did $90,000 in a period of 10 months. That averages to about $9,000 a month. Some months it was more, some months it was less. But you have to have something that is going to keep you going when you are paying off debt, because it's easy to fall behind. It's easy to get off track. It's easy to do the wrong thing or not to do the hard thing. It's hard. It takes gut, it takes will, and it takes courage to stay on the path you're on. And you have to have your why when your family's talking about you. You have to have your why when your friends are talking about you. You have to have your why when you and your spouse are going back and forth because they want to do something and you don't want to do it. You have to have your why. Like, for me, my why will always be to leave something for my children, to make sure that they are taken care of and that they can go to college without any worries, and that they have the options to do what they want to do with their lives. My other why is that I want to be financially free. I don't want to be tied to a job that I don't enjoy. I don't want to have to wake up and be stressed out about the work that I'm going to do. I don't want to deal with food insecurity or home insecurity or anything like that. So that's part of my why. Do whatever you got to do. Tattoo it on your arm, write it every day in your journal, but you have to find your why, and it has to be strong enough to keep you going for this debt payoff journey. Something else that I think is very important when you are paying off your debt, because like I just said, you have to have your why, and people are going to talk about you. They're going to make comments. They're not going to understand why you're doing it, and they're going to laugh at you until you actually do it. Then they're going to ask questions. But the next thing that you need to do is you have to be around like-minded individuals. So if you do hashtag debt-free community, hashtag financial independence, you're going to find so many people that are out here trying to do the same thing that you are doing. And if they have a podcast or they have books, listen and read them. Go within those hashtags or those communities so that you are with people who understand that you're not trying to live this extravagant lifestyle and you're trying to cut back and you're interested in improving your overall financial security. And I think that makes a huge difference, because if you got to hang up the phone with someone because they're just being rude or don't understand what you're doing, turn on a podcast. It's always there. Listen to people who have been there and done what you are trying to do. And it lets you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Just know that you're not alone. And if you ever get to that point where you feel alone or you have a question or you're not sure what you can do, please feel free to reach out to me. I've been there, and now I'm focused on helping others get there, as well as the things that are coming next for me. I can tell you I am truly happy, and I feel so blessed and privileged that we were able to pay off our debt, because it has opened up so many opportunities for us. And we've had some major life changes recently that have allowed us to accept and embrace and enjoy those changes without really worrying about how we were going to do things that come next. I have some other videos, and I'll link that playlist for you so that you can check it out. And I have another one coming to let you know step by step in detail how you can pay off debt, possible side hustles you can do in order to pay off debt. And I also have another video for you that will discuss life after being debt free for 5 years now. If you like, make sure you subscribe so that you can get notified when I post those videos. Have a great and blessed day, and as always, give yourself grace.